Welcome to the Lalo Masterclass. I'm Darkstar, coach and builder of Blueprint as well as an esport player for VM Legacy. So, short story, last year after the Blimp rework, I switched away from Blizz Lalo to Lalo. And after that, I was able to get multiple personal records in the Legends League leaderboard, as well as started to get recognized as mainly as a Lalo player. And today I'm sharing my knowledge with you. So what we're going to cover in this masterclass is, first, I'm going to go through the army explanation, aka the troops, the spells, the siege machines, everything. And then we're going to do some live planning, replays coverage, and some live attacks on the most recent basis. So let's jump right into it. Alright, let's start with army composition. So we're going to discuss about the troops, the spells, the clan castle, siege machines, pets and equipments. So starting with the army composition, the troops. As you probably know, Lalo is composed by three phases. We got the Zap phase, which regards the spells, so doesn't matter. And then we got the hero dive phase, and then the Lalo phase. So that's why we got the lava hounds and the balloons, with the minions to clean up, of course, for the later last phase of the attack. But you also have to make sure that our hero dive, our second phase of the attack, is successful. So that's why you have, of course, some funneling troops, an ice golem, some headhunters, and some wall breakers. Now, specifically talking about the wall breakers, I kinda noticed that compared to Tunnel 15, Tunnel 16 has more smaller comps because of how strong the king is. And that's why we have some smaller comps to limit the king value. And that's why I decided to add one more wall breaker so that we can wall break the king in multiple compartments and get more value out of the heroes. Then, talking about the spells, there's not much to say here. We're going to discuss the Zap spell a bit more in details later. Then, Clan Castle, we got 2 Yetis, 2 Sneakies and a Rocket Loon. Now, the reason why we bring the Sneakies is because it happens that, well, it's actually the most common thing, I would say, to blimp the Town Hall with the on ring basis or just when the Town Hall is more centralized on the base. We're going to see that in details afterwards. But that's the main reason, because 2 Sneakies can make such a big difference, especially with a rage spell, can keep the Yetis alive and the Yetis can get even more value. And Yetis overall are just the most versatile troop to keep in our siege machines, which are the drill, the flinger, the blimp, the log launcher or the slammer, because they're always gonna get value with the Yeti mites. They're going to target the defenses and they're gonna get value in any scenario compared to any other troops. So these are the siege machines that we bring. We're going to use the log launcher for basically more to counter the invisibility spell towers. We're going to see that later. But with the most recent base styles, it's not that useful, I would say, because yeah, its only job is mainly to counter the invis towers, not much else. It can make the Sui, the hero dive stronger. However, because the compartments are more small, it's gonna be just harder, okay? So it's not as strong as it was previously in the meta, but now it's not as good, I would say. Then we got the Slammer, which is just there because I could bring an extra siege machine compared to the past, but it's basically has the same role of the drill, which is just sending it with the Lalo. If there's no flinger value, a good blimp or a good log launcher. However, the drill is just a better, broader, stronger version of the slammer, because it stays on the ground, goes underground, doesn't trigger any seeking air mines, so it will stay alive longer. It will stun every single time it will hit a defense, so that's gonna be way stronger, will get way more value than a slammer. Moreover, you can use the drill also with the hero dive. We're going to see that later. So it has also multiple use cases compared to the slammer. So that's why the drill, I would say, it's stronger than the slammer. It happens that sometimes, very few times, the slammer is a bit better, but 99% of the times I would say the drill is stronger. Then the flame flinger, I would say, is probably the strongest siege machine. However, the issue with it is that nowadays the base is adapted to counter the flinger to the best. So we have mortars, heroes, X-bows to protect the key defenses, and specifically we got those X-bow compartments in the corners, which make the flame flinger quite not as powerful as usable as it was before. We can still get a lot of value with the flinger if we combine it with the zap spells. For example, we can zap some X-bows and get a lot of value from the flinger. We're going to see that later again, but I will say that it's not as valuable as it was in the past. It's very strong, yes, it's the siege machine that you probably should look out the most to use. However, it's not as valuable as it was in the past. And then we got the blimp. The blimp is probably, I would say, the must siege machine to use in ring bases, or more in bases where you have the town hall in the core, because it's just gonna guarantee you 99% of the time to get the town hall, so you don't have to Lalo through it, you don't have to send your heroes in the middle of the base to get the town hall. You're just gonna blimp it and you're gonna be completely fine. Okay, so last but not least, let's cover the pets and equipments. For the king, we got the phoenix to get more value. Even after the king dies, he's gonna tank a lot of damage, so no discussion here, the phoenix is just the best pet, as well as the equipments. As you probably know, rage plus gauntlet makes the king completely broken at turn 16. That's why the bases are adapting, making smaller compartments just to counter the king. So these are the best equipments and pet for the king. Queen, we got the unicorn to keep her alive longer, and then we get the invis vial and the healer puppet. Now I see some people using the frozen arrow, however I wouldn't say it's that strong. Now the reason behind this is that the frozen arrow is strong when it targets key defenses like the town hall, the scatters, the infernos, X-bows, things like that. And for example, in a queen charge, you're gonna hit a lot of those defenses. You're gonna hit a town hall, X-bows, infernos, a lot of stuff, because you're gonna charge the queen. The queen is gonna stay alive a long amount of time, get in the core of the base, target those key defenses. However, in Lalo, what you do is basically sending the queen into a compartment where you have a key defense like an inferno, a scatter, a town hall, anything. And when the queen is gonna target those, you're basically just gonna pop the ability, and she's gonna get those anyway, so you're not gonna get any value from the frozen arrow. However, where we can get the value is after the queen gets the compartment. So after the queen gets the value, like a scatter and a hero, or an inferno, or a town hall, the healers are going to spawn, and they're gonna keep her alive longer than she will stay alive with just a frozen arrow or an archer puppet, for instance. So we're gonna get the value from the queen equipment afterwards, after we get the value. So I can say that it will happen, we're going to see that later, that with the healer puppet, the queen is gonna stay alive way longer than without. And it would happen that our Lalo could die, our RC, everything could die, but the queen stays alive, maybe gets stuck in a wall in the middle of the base, but she will eventually come back at the end of the raid and finish the base on her own. It happened a lot of time to me in the past, and that's why I would recommend this equipment by far as the best. Now, let's talk about the Warden. Now we got the Diggy on the Warden, and you might argue, well, we are doing a Lalo with the Warden, and the Diggy might die because it's a ground pet. However, I tested this for months, and the Diggy is not dying, is completely fine. He's gonna stun the key defenses, he's gonna get basically free freeze value for you. He's gonna freeze the town, stun the town, or stun the inferno, stun the scatters every single time you will hit those, and it's just very much better value than, for example, Owl. The issue with the Owl is just it will just stay behind, deal some damage, maybe help you on the back end if the Lalo dies, but the dig is just a way better option. Then, for the equipment, we are using the Eternal Tome and the Life Gem. Now, the Eternal Tome is a must, no discussions here. However, there is quite of a debate for the Life Gem and the Healing Tome. Now, there are some occasions where one is better than the other. For example, when you have a shorter Lalo, more like on ring basis, where you try to get the splash damage earlier, we're going to discuss this later, it's better to have the Healing Tome, because the Lalo is going to last a little amount of time, because they're gonna take down the splash damage quite fast. So the Healing Tome is gonna get his effect. When it disappears, all the splash damage will be done, and you don't need those extra HP on your balloons. So that's when the Healing Tome is better. Also, against poison towers, I would say it's a better option. However, against things like rage towers, when you have to do a longer Lalo, aka you start the Lalo from, let's say, the bottom side of the base, you have to finish on the top side, the Lalo is gonna take surely longer than 30 seconds, and I can guarantee you that if you use the Healing Tome, you will wish that you have those extra HP on the balloons when you're going to fight, for example, a multi-inferno on the back end or a scatter shot, okay? So when the Lalo is fast, when you know you can take down the splash damage quite fast, the Healing Tome is better. But if you know that your Lalo is going to take a lot of time, and the splash damage is quite spread out on the base, then the Life Gem is a better option. Now, in Legends, I prefer to use the Life Gem, and overall I just prefer it as a standard option to use compared to the Healing Tome. But it's completely up to you. You can use both. Both work. Sometimes one works better than the other, but they are both valuable, okay? It's completely up to you. Last but not least, Royal Champion. We're using the Fox, of course, because it's gonna make the Royal Champion invisible half of the time she's on the field, basically. So this is gonna make her stay alive quite longer than she would be with like a Diggy or another pet. So also, we will discuss later that the Royal Champion is basically the most important hero. You need to keep her alive absolutely with the Lalo. So that's why the Fox plays a very good role in this army. And overall, in any army, I would say the pet is basically the most used pet on the RC, and same thing for the Lalo. Now, equipments, we're using the Hog Puppet and the Haste Vial. And the reason for this is that we're not using neither the shield or the life gem, the heal gem for the Royal Champion, because the issue with the Royal Champion is basically just ricochet cannons, and the Hog Puppet is gonna counter him, because before those equipments came out, the issue of the Royal Champion was when she was facing a ricochet cannon, she was popping the ability, yes, but if a skeleton spell was popping during the ricochet cannon hitting your Royal Champion, the Royal Champion was gonna struggle quite a lot. However, with the Hogs are gonna spawn, give the Royal Champion basically 10,000 HP more of tanking. They will tank the ricochet cannon, go straight to it, take it down, and your Royal Champion is gonna be completely fine. Haste Vial, just completely strong, makes your Royal Champion a monster. She's gonna speed through defenses, take those down quite quickly. And yeah, the main reason why we got rid of the heal gem specifically is because the Hog Puppet still gives some heal to the Royal Champion, and most of the times you don't need the insane amount of heal that the gem gave her, but we prefer to have a smaller amount, which is completely fine, the one of the Hog Puppet, and we're just gonna get 9 Hogs to tank our Royal Champion, so that's gonna be completely amazing. Okay, so this was the army composition. Now let's go to discuss the Zap spell more specifically. Let's talk a bit about the Zap spell. So, what I'm going to discuss about is how many Zaps you need for each defense, the range of the Zap, and then I'll make a personal ranking of the most important defenses to plan to Zap before your attack. Let's start with how many Zaps we need for each defense. Now here, keep in mind that we always want to hit our target with Earthquake spell. We are just adjusting the number of zaps for each defense, but you always need to hit it with the Quake spell. Starting from the first line, we need 7 zaps. Keep in mind that for the Eagle, we cannot allow too many Builder Rats to touch it before we take it down, otherwise it's gonna stay up, okay? Same thing for the Monolith in the second line, where we need 6 zaps. This time we cannot allow a single Builder Rat to touch it, otherwise it's gonna stay up. However, if you just bring 7 zaps, you can just invest the extra one and they're gonna be completely fine, okay? Third line, Inferno Tower, 5 zaps. All the defenses below the Inferno Tower, we need 4 zaps, then 3, and then 2. Now for the Sweeper, you don't really need the Quake, you just need 2 zaps. Okay, this was the number. Let's see the range. There we go. Now, when we discuss about the zap range, the magic number you need to keep in mind is 3. 3 are the tiles between each defense, just like this, 1, 2, 3, that we can allow to have between 2 defenses. And if we zap in between, exactly here, we know for sure that we're going to hit our targets, okay? If we have 4 tiles, like in this case, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, we're not going to hit it, okay? That's very important. Yeah, let's continue with the next screenshot, okay? Now, we can allow 3 tiles horizontally, but also 1 tile vertically. So we have 1, 2, 3. There we go. These are 3 tiles. But we can also allow 1 just like this. As you can see, there we go. We can allow 1 tile vertically, just like this. 1 tile. These are 3 tiles. And if we zap in the middle, we're gonna hit the Archer Tower and the Ricochet Cannon. Okay. Then let's move to the next one. Okay. Now, this thing is also possible, which means we can allow also to have 3 tiles in horizontally and 2 tiles vertically. So we have 2 just like this, and then we can have 3. However, so in this case we need to zap basically on the line of the tile, and this zap is extremely hard, and if you're a beginner I wouldn't recommend you to use it, to do it, because like I used to play on phone for the last year of esports and it was really hard. If you're on the tablet it's a bit easier, but at the same time if you're a beginner you need to be very precise, and I wouldn't recommend you to do so because it's just really hard and not worth it, okay? Because if you're going to miss both targets, you're just going to fail and it's not worth the risk at the beginning, okay? Okay, this was the range. Oh, actually, we need to discuss a bit diagonally. So the rule here is basically just have like 2 tiles diagonally, and we're just going to zap in the middle and we're gonna get both targets and we'll be completely fine. Okay, this was the range. One last thing now is personal ranking of the most important defenses to get, okay, when we plan to zap, which are the X-Bow, the Inferno Tower, and the Monolith. Now let me explain. I will put the X-Bow number 1 because when you will see later, but what we're going to zap mainly is damage for our heroes. So we need to have to think about having the zap and the sui part of the attack as one thing, and if we zap the X-Bow, we're gonna get a lot of value, more value from the heroes, because that's a lot of damage gone for our heroes, and we're gonna allow them to get way more value. Inferno Tower, just because they are in the core, they're usually protected by a lot of red bombs, so for our Lalo it's quite a threat, and it creates a lot of buffing in the core. And then the Monolith, same thing for the X-Bow. If we take it down, our heroes will just get a lot, and it's gonna be really nice, okay? One more thing about the X-Bow actually is if we can zap an X-Bow, on some bases it can open up to flame flingers, which are very strong, always get a lot of value. So that's why I put the X-bow as number 1, Inferno as number 2, and Monolith as number 3. Inferno Tower and Monolith are quite similar, but I will say the Inferno Tower is a bit more versatile, and you're gonna zap it more often than the Monolith, for example. Then we have the Ricochet Cannon, which is, again, same concept as the X-bow and the Monolith. We take down a lot of damage from our heroes, and this way they're gonna be able to get a lot more. Then we have the Scatter Shot, which I wouldn't recommend it to zap it most of the times, but now with the new meta, the Scatter Shots start to be more in the core of the base, and that's why they became more valuable. Otherwise, in Town 15, for example, they were more located on the outside of the base, where you could just send your king inside, and it was just gonna take care of it. So now they became more valuable just because they're more located in the core of the base. Then we have the multi-archer tower, which shouldn't be a main of one of your main targets, just a bonus, like the spell tower, the sweeper, and the builder rat. It's really nice to get, especially the builder rat. Don't underestimate it because it's like an archer tower, if not even better. Okay. And then last thing, you might be surprised, but the eagle is not that important because if you think about it, during the wall Sui phase, it's not gonna get activated, so half of the attack is gone, it's not gonna do anything. And then when you start your Lalo, it's always gonna target your Lava Hound first, so it's gonna waste its shots. Then you're gonna pop your Warden ability for 10 seconds, it's gonna waste again another set of shots, and then you're basically gonna get there and it's gonna go down, so it's not an issue at all. Okay, just I see some people that try to zap the eagle, but it's just not worth it. It's not gonna do much. Actually, it's not gonna do anything to your attack, so don't worry about it. This was everything you needed to know about the zap spell. Let's move on to the next chapter. Now that you know all the basics of zap Lalo, what we're going to do is diving into a lot of examples. We're gonna uncover all the different style of bases, which are diamonds, boxes, and the rings. And for every single one of them, we're gonna plan together and see the execution of the attacks. Okay, now a general rule for when you're planning any base, no matter the style, is even though you know that Zap Lalo has 3 phases, which are the Zap, the Sui, and the Lalo, I want you to think about the Zap and the Sui phase as one phase only, because they're strictly connected, and what you're going to zap is gonna be beneficial for your heroes, which means what you're going to zap is going to allow your heroes to get more value, okay? Because you're gonna take down damage like X-bows, Infernos, Monolith, Ricochet Cannons, things like that, which are going to allow your heroes to get even more value, okay? That's why they're strictly connected, and when you're going to zap, you need to plan immediately after what you're going to sui, okay? Personally, I only plan the start of the Lalo. Basically at the end of the plan, I just see if it makes sense. I don't plan the details of the Lalo because there's not much time, especially in Legends. If you're in war, that's fine, you have all the time in the war, so you can plan your Lalo. But I don't personally do it, like it's not necessary. What's important is planning the zap and the sui, okay? Because if you're gonna get a lot of value out of the zaps and the hero dive, you don't need to have a very good Lalo, a professional Lalo, anything. You just need a Lalo which makes sense, not a Lalo which goes maybe against a sweeper, ends on a multi-inferno, things like that. We're gonna see a lot of examples, so we're gonna get used to it, don't worry about it. But yeah, this is the main thing. So please, when you zap, when you plan the zap, plan also the sui immediately after. That's very important, they are extremely connected, and we're gonna cover this now. Diamond is the style we're going to begin with. Now, a side note about diamonds is that you will find yourself more into using siege machines like the drill or the flame flinger rather than a blimp or a log launcher because they are very specific base dependent, so they need specific characteristics, and yeah, you're just not gonna find yourself into a lot of situation where you're gonna be able to use them. Okay, so these are the 2 most common siege machines. Now, what we're going to do, what I would suggest you to do is to stop the video for a second, plan the base on your own, and then try to match the plan that you made with the one I'm going to make now. Okay, this way I think it's going to improve a lot your planning skills, and it's just a good way to learn in my opinion. Okay, so let's start now. As you know, we're going to plan the zaps first. So let's see which options we have, and then let's see what we can follow up. Okay, which Su we can follow up, or which Siege, aka which Flinger we can use. Otherwise, just Zap and Su. Okay, so as you can see, we don't have many options, very good options, except maybe this Monolith, 2 sweepers, 3 builder creates a lot of puffing in the core, or this X-Bow, Spell Tower, and Multi-Inferno Tower. Now with this first option, all we get is just buffing to the core, so our RC doesn't have to go there, or Lalo, or heroes, nothing. However, we don't really get much, like there's not really a good Sui to follow up, so doesn't really do something for the rest of the plan compared to the second option. Because if we take down all of this, most importantly the X-Bow, what this is gonna open up is to an insane Flinger, because if we place it here, we use a few balloons to take down the Archer Tower, of course, the Flame Flinger is gonna get all of these for free, completely for free, which is some insane value. So yeah, it's gonna take down all of this, which is just amazing. And I will say we're gonna take it for now. Let's see which Su you can plan now. So as you can see on the left side of the base, we have 4 heroes and the clan castle. Now, you definitely don't want Lalo in there most of the times, because yeah, having only 3 Hunters, having to deal with the CC as well. Let's say there's like some annoying CC, like a witch, some super minions, a lot of archers. It's gonna be very annoying for your Lalo, very risky to deal with, so we're just gonna Su in there. It's gonna be amazing. We get the town hall, we get the heroes, we get the CC. So our king is gonna be responsible for the town hall. I know there's a lot of heroes, there's the CC, but the king with the ability is gonna splash everything. So he's gonna be able to eat the heroes, the storages, the town hall, the CC at the same time. So it's gonna be fine. I feel like if anything, we're just going to freeze a few times and it's gonna be fine. Our queen is gonna be responsible to get Scatter and Expo. And this is the value we're gonna get basically from the Sui, something like this. We know the Flame Flinger is gonna take down the right side of the base. As you can see, this bottom side of the base is quite weak, so you can just use some balloons here and there, and all of this is gonna be go down for free. There we go. What's left on the base? The core and the top side of the base. So we're gonna send our royal champion here. There we go. This way she's gonna step and go to the core. This is something very common on diamond and also box bases, we will see. Sending the royal champion to the core, because in the core, you know, there are usually a lot of red bombs, so you don't want your Lalo to get there because it's likely that they're going to die. So we want our royal champion to eventually go and get the core, while our Lalo is gonna be responsible to go all around the base, push the royal champion in the core, and yeah, this is it. Now, let's see the replaying game, and I will explain you further things. So this is the plan. Let's jump in game and see how it works. Alright, here we are in game. Let's check out the attack. First thing we do, we place the Flinger. There we go, because the Flinger takes a lot of time. So if we can, let's place the Flinger, then use the Zaps. There we go. We have 7 Zaps in our army. If you're in war, you can adapt it. Just add some freezes if you don't need the 7 Zaps. Otherwise, if you're in Legends League, you have to keep a fixed army. So you're gonna use your Zap for things like CC troops or Skelly spells. There we go. We Sui on the Town Hall. Flame Flinger is safe. Alright, our king is going in. He's gonna splash everything. There goes the Zap on the Headhunters. This way the king is gonna have less troubles with those. There we go, he's gonna splash the ice golems easily and he's gonna take the town. Queen is gonna get their value, and the Flinger is gonna eventually get the multi-inferno tower. There we go. Pop the queen ability, never wait too much for the queen ability, otherwise she might die through the ability, just pop it manually. We have another wall breaker. Let's just get some extra value, you know, like if the heroes get enough, but they have the potential to get more, just try to invest a bit of troops and they're gonna get more, and that's just nice. Flinger gets the value. There we go, we send the royal champion. So this way she will go to the core and then the Lalo. I like to send some delayed balloons to go to the core eventually, and those are quite nice at the end of the day, because the first group you send of balloons probably won't go to the core, but if you delay some, they will eventually go to the core always. Look at them, they will go to the core and get everything. We can just use our spells now on the multi Inferno Tower and multi Archer Tower, so the splash damage is completely denied. And there we go. Now, a very important thing that's gonna change a lot on your attacks is yeah, this royal champion placement and management, because if you're gonna send a royal champion into a ricochet cannon and she dies early, if your Lalo is gonna die, you might end up failing. But if your royal champion is safe till the end of the attack, she's gonna always be able to finish the base and get the job done. Here we are, second base. Stop the video for a second if you wish. And okay, let's see what we can do here. So this base is very different and interesting because spell towers are quite exposed. There are a lot of key defenses on the outside. We have the ricochet cannons, the X-bow scatters, most of the key defenses on the outside. However, we don't really want to zap those because we can just sui them, reach them quite easily. That's why we don't usually zap the scatters, in my opinion, because they're quite exposed on the outside. If they're in the core, we can zap them, of course. So we kinda need to zap something in the core, in my opinion. So has to be either the monolith or one of the multi-infernos. And I believe in this case we're gonna zap more for the Lalo itself afterwards. This means we're gonna go for this multi-inferno over here, plus the sweeper, because we get the sweeper, we're able to Lalo into the town hall, okay? Then we can't really sweep the town hall because it's quite toxic with a single inferno, with the clan castle, and the timing with the heroes, the clan castle, the single might be quite annoying. So let's see if we can sweep some of the top set of the base. And what I notice is that this might be a bit different than usual, but even though there are 2 mortars and 2 X-bows, so you might think a flinger is not really possible, we could just tank those with the king and use the flinger behind the king. This way these defenses are tanked, they don't threaten the flinger. King is gonna get this way something like this, is gonna go inside, he's gonna tank everything, and he's gonna take all the eagle comp. There we go. This way we can use a flinger over here, and he's gonna go and take care of this compartment just like that. Okay, so yeah, if you have the possibility to tank these defenses with the heroes, then use a flinger. This is gonna be quite nice because it's surely not expected by most bases, and you're gonna get a lot of value still. So yeah, so we need this king to go inside though, so we need our queen here to funnel, so our king goes inside, and then our queen is gonna walk over here, and she's gonna take this compartment over here. So we get both scatters, spell towers, the eagle, and that's quite a lot of value. Okay, so then what's left on the base, as you can see, so the heroes are gonna get something like this along with the flinger. There is this wall town comp, the core, and yeah, just this. It's a bit annoying because we have the royal champion, the enemy queen, and the clan castle, but we're gonna manage those eventually with our royal champion. The royal champion is gonna go over here. We cannot send her on the town hall, of course, otherwise we're just gonna waste them and the attack is going to fail. So we're gonna send our royal champion to go eventually and get all the core. Remember, in the core there is a lot of red bombs, so we'll just send a royal champion there. Let's avoid it with the Lalo. Our Lalo is gonna be responsible for all this town hall comp. Okay, there we go. Lalo is gonna come over here, get the town hall. We're gonna clear this bottom set as well, and then finish on this X-bow with our siege machine troops, with our royal champion coming from the core, and this should be enough. Let's see how it works. There we go, second base, second replay. We're gonna start with the Zeps, and then we start with our Sui. Start with the queen, then the king, make sure he goes inside, and he gets all the value. We will tank for the mortars, for the X-bows, so we can send our flinger, who's gonna go for the scatter. There we go. King is gonna get the wall eagle comp with the little support of the queen. Use a nice golem for the queen, since the king is most of the times fine, he doesn't need any support. So just use the ice golem for the queen. Make sure our queen goes inside. There we go. Our queen is gonna work towards the scatter, and the flinger will work towards the other. If you can sometimes use some balloons just to scout if there are any Teslas. I like to send 1 or 2, or speed up the process like we did here. Just send 2 balloons, and we saved like 10 seconds for the flinger. There we go, the queen ability. We can use a wall breaker, so our queen could eventually go on the outside, which is nice. And we send our champion to the core, and our Lalo towards the town hall. There we go. I like to send the second down, usually always in the warden ability, so it's gonna stay protected a lot way longer than without. Now here you can notice that I use the warden ability quite early. I could have saved it a bit longer, yes I could. However, most of the times it's fine if you use it too early, you know, because if you end up losing your balloons because you don't pop the warden ability too early, then it's just better to pop it early, save as many troops as you can. Then even if some balloons die on the town hall, that's fine, okay? It's very important though, when you load the town hall, to not send too many balloons, otherwise of course they're all going to die, okay? So don't send that many, just send enough of them so that you get the town hall. Always rage when you load the town hall, rage the Lalo on the town hall. Yeah, it's very important to manage the balloons really well. Otherwise, yeah, if all the balloons die on the town hall, it's not gonna be that nice. Okay, next base. Third and final diamond base. So this base compared to the others has a deeper town hall, which is quite meta because of the Root Rider meta, so we prefer to have ring bases or deeper town halls overall. And let's see what we can do. As you can see, there's a lot of zap value in all of this core, so we're definitely going to zap something in there. Let's see what we can do with the Sui. So even though the top side is stacked with heroes, with the clan castle, I wouldn't recommend to Sui in there because the monolith is gonna be quite annoying. We don't really have a Skelly spell. We could add it in the army, but we are not gonna get that much anyway, so yeah, all we're gonna get is, yes, clan castle and heroes, but not that much splash damage, because then a lot of it's gonna stay up in the core, which is not the best for our Lalo. So let's see what else we can do with our heroes instead, which has to be Sui around the bottom side. And as you can see, let me select, alright, another color. We can send our king inside over here, so he's gonna tank the X-bow, the ricochet cannon, take all of these things down, and our queen is gonna be completely free, or almost free, to go all the way to the town hall and get all of this value, which is crazy nice. Okay, so yeah, considering that we're gonna do this Sui, we can just zap for our Lalo, we can zap as much value as we want. Doesn't really matter that we zap for our heroes this time around. So we can zap all of this. Choose scatter, some ulti rage tower, which is crazy nice. And then, even though we could have used a flinger at 6, I would prefer to use the drill this time around, because it's gonna work with RC all around the base, compared to the flinger who's just going to pop, not do much afterwards. So I would use a drill with the royal champion. Drill and royal champion combination is quite strong. That's how I personally use the drill with the Lalo. Just use it with the royal champion. It's like a second royal champion. Send it to the core with the royal champion. So over here they're going to puff just like this. They're gonna go to the core, and we're going to Lalo over here. So we take down the ricochet cannon, the X-bow, we push the royal champion and the drill in the core. Our Lalo is gonna clear all around the base, okay? Now there's still this clan castle, 4 heroes, but as long as we keep our royal champion alive towards the end of the attack, it's completely fine, okay? Even if we have 4 heroes, doesn't really matter. Let's not spam anything on this top side. Let's wait for our push to come from the bottom side, and we're gonna be completely fine, okay? So this time I'm gonna do a live attack, so let's jump into it. Here we are, let's see what we can do. Okay, so we're going to zap first. Let's make sure we don't activate the tower with the quake, otherwise it's gonna deal a lot of damage on our queen. King, funnel for the king, queen, funnel for the queen. There we go. Pop the king ability soon. There we go. Another wall breaker and some protection for our queen. There we go. King is gonna get all the value, maybe even more. We don't really care much, but it's fine. Our queen is gonna eventually step towards the tunnel. Let's just be patient. No need to rush. King is gonna go on the outside to get even more value, which is amazing. Let's prepare our drill. Let's help out our queen. Send a few balloons, this way I can split the shots of the archer tower a bit better. Let's freeze the archer tower. Let's make sure our queen gets the town hall. I'm gonna pop the ability soon, before the clan castle goes for our queen. There we go. Town hall will go down, as well as the multi-inferno. Let's still wait a little bit to see what happens. Okay, let's pull the clan castle. Can actually just poison. Let's do drill, royal champ, and then we're gonna Lalo. Just like this. Blah. Second down in the warden ability, as usual. Send 2 hunters, they will go for the heroes. There we go. Some more balloons, another hound, another balloons here. Okay, let's keep our rage for the enemy heroes, for our royal champion as well. Now let's wait before sending balloons on the top side for our royal champion. This way we don't waste any balloons. And we're gonna use our ability, rage, freeze, all the damage, final balloons, final cleanup, and there we go. It's a bit close on time, but it's gonna be fine, okay? It's better to take your time with the clan castle, with your Sui, before starting the attack, otherwise it can get messy, you might lose your queen. So just take your time. As long as you're above, let's say around 120, you can wait, then when you're around 120, you can start your attack usually. Okay, these were the diamond base. Let's move on to the box bases. Box bases, here we go. Just like diamond bases, you will find yourself using more drills and flame flingers, just because log launcher and blimps are again very base specific. We're gonna see some scenarios, but this is not gonna be the case. So let's see what we can zap, what we can follow up with. Our options are like a monolith and a multi-archer tower in the core, which is gonna open up to a nice swing to the town hall, or we can zap something like this in the core, which is gonna open up for a swing to the eagle and on the scatter shot comp as well. So between the two, I would usually go for a swing to the town hall with a zap into monolith in the core, because it's gonna create a lot of buffing, it's gonna take down a lot of damage on our heroes. So without the monolith, our king can go in the scatter comp, single queen comp, can take down the single, maybe not scatter shot, doesn't really matter, and he's gonna pull the clan castle. Instead, our queen is gonna go and take down the town hall. So let's do some drawings to explain a bit better. So we can send our king into this compartment and then wall break again over here, and he's gonna go and take down all of this. Then our queen can come around this bottom side, can wall break her over here, and she's gonna take down the tunnel. So the Su is gonna get something like something like this. There we go. Maybe the scatter shot, I'm not really sure, because there's the poison tower. The clan castle will come out on the king, so not sure what's gonna happen, but it's not a big problem. And what we can do afterwards is we have to Lalo from 3 o'clock, okay? Because we have two sweepers pointing the top side of the base, so we're definitely not going to Lalo over there, but we're going to Lalo from this bottom side. Also because when we send our hound in the warden ability, the second hound as usual, it's gonna go on the air defense, so quite deep in the core, it's gonna explode, pull all the traps, and it's gonna pull the poison tower as well, so it's not gonna do as much damage as it will do if we Lalo on the top side, okay? But mainly, when you see the town hall, you're gonna Lalo on the side of it, okay? Never from the opposite side, because there are always the sweeper pointed towards that side, so you want to Lalo into the side of the tunnel, okay? If you're gonna sue it. So we're gonna Lalo over here. And, oh yeah, the siege machine. We can use either a drill or frame flinger as usual. We could either drop a drill into our Lalo, use it in the mix. However, here there's an okay flinger. You can place it over here. It's gonna take this, this, and the eagle. And if it takes down the ricochet cannon, this opens up to a lot of possibilities for our royal champion, which we're gonna send over here. She's gonna go straight to the multi-inferno, and she's gonna finish the base just like here, yeah. And we can use just some balloons on the back end if their C dies due to the ricochet cannon, and this should be enough. Let's see how it works. There we go. Let's see how this works. Let's start with the flinger first. Always use a goblin, because as you can see, there was a Tesla, so make sure you always scout with your goblin for the flame flinger. We're gonna do the zaps. There we go. We're gonna wait a little bit for our flinger, make sure it's gonna be safe. Just send the balloons to scout for any Teslas. And then we're gonna start with our Sui. So let's do the funnel with the king, Let's break him twice and send the queen towards the town. Gonna break again. There we go. Let's send a nice golem for the king this time around. Always like to send ice golem a bit delayed. You might think, well, it's not gonna tank much, but it's gonna get deeper to the core this way around, and it's gonna freeze quite deep, okay? There we go. We have an extra zap, so never waste it. As you can see here, you can reset an Inferno Tower with zap, so it's gonna be quite nice. Pop the ability on the queen, and then we start with the Lalo immediately, okay? As soon as we pop the queen ability, we're gonna start with the Lalo. This is because there's no need to wait, okay? Because otherwise, these defenses are gonna lock on our queen, and the queen is going to die. Instead, if we start the Lalo early, just like we're doing now, our queen, we have the healers, the damage will be split, the Lalo is gonna take down these defenses which are on our queen, and our queen is gonna stay alive till the end of the attack with the healers. That's also why the healer puppet is very nice compared to the frozen arrow. This way, if our Lalo is going to eventually die in the core, our queen is gonna stay here nice and safe, beat through a few walls, and eventually finish off the base, okay? There we go, we send our royal champion from the top side. Lalo is pushing through the core. There are some red bombs, but it's fine, okay? It's not a big deal, because we zap the core, basically. Last lava hound, last balloons, just to distract these defenses over here. Freeze again, and they should be clapped, okay? But yeah, this queen is quite important to keep alive. Might happen that the attack doesn't go your way, so if you keep the queen alive, that's gonna be an extra safety, okay? Yeah, there we go. Base is clapped. This is a 3-star. Let's move to the next base. Second box base. Let's see how we can manage this. We have a tunnel which is a bit deeper in the core, a rage compartment which is isolated by a lot of dead zones, making it annoying overall for root riders and dragons. And as you can see, all the key defenses on the outside are pretty spread out, so we can't really zap anything because there's no value. The only value which we can see is just in the core. We have a rage comp surrounded by a lot of key defenses, and our options will be either this, rage tower, multi-archer and scatter, otherwise rage tower, multi-archer tower and multi. So Let's plan our sui and then we will decide what we are going to do with our zaps. So I would personally avoid the top side because there are the ricochet cannons and overall there's not a lot of air damage, so we can get through with it with the Lalo ideally. So the only option we have left is to sweep the bottom side. So what we're going to do is trying to send our king inside just like this. Even though it's a bit hard, we can funnel with our queen these buildings over here. This way the king is gonna go inside. We can wall break this compartment, and then king is gonna go into the multi, and eventually maybe also the royal champion. It's not really needed. It's more of a bonus value as well as the clan castle. On this basis, when the core is super isolated and the clan castle is in the core, it's really hard to pull it with our sui. So it's seriously key, more than anything else, to keep the royal champion alive and make sure she gets through the core and the clan castle, because the core is pretty hard to get with anything like a sui or the Lalo. So the main job will be for the royal champion, and that's why it's again super important to keep her alive in this case. So considering we're going to do this sui over here, so our queen is gonna go and get the monolith, the king is gonna go and get the multi. Let's decide what we can zap, if it's either the scatter or the multi. So in this case, I would recommend to zap the scatter. Now, usually I would always say zapping a multi is better, but in this scenario, because the scatter will shoot my king all the time, I prefer to zap it. This way all of this is out, and then because we are going to Lalo from this side, because remember the sweepers are pointing towards the top side, so we can't really Lalo from the top side, it's just weird. So we're gonna Lalo from the bottom side and blimp the tunnel. Okay, this way the tunnel goes down, no issue at all, and it's gonna be secured. Okay, the Lalo is going to work towards this bottom side, and we're going to add the royal champion with it. We're not going to use too many balloons because these balloons are either just going to go all around, lose a lot of time kinda, and either nothing passes to the core, or if they pass to the core, they're just going to die because there are probably going to be a lot of red bombs. So we need the royal champion to take all of this in the core. And now we can push the royal champion in the core by adding a bigger pack of the Lalo over here. This way they're going to cut all the defenses in this area. This way the royal champion from this expo will be able to go to the core, if not earlier. Okay, this is the plan. Let's see how it's done. Alright, let's see the practical example. So we're going to zap first in the core, the scatter, the multi-archer tower, and the rage tower. There we go. And we're gonna start with our king and the queen. This way the queen is gonna push the king inside this compartment. Even though it's pretty hard to funnel, we're going to make it work with our queen. There we go, our king is going to go inside and queen is gonna go towards the monolith. Gonna wall break over here. This way the king goes for the multi and the queen will go for the monolith. We have some support for the queen as usual. King will be completely fine, so we don't need to add anything. Queen and king working towards their primary targets. We have another wall breaker, so we can just open for the king, just extra value. We pull the CC, that's really nice. And our queen is going to take down the monolith. Now with the healers, she might end up staying alive and get the tunnel. However, we're going to blimp it anyway. We just want to be safe, okay? So we're going to wait for our queen a little bit, make sure everything is fine, and then we start with the Lalo. As you can see, I didn't use many balloons. These are like 9 balloons, nothing crazy. Just to add some support with the royal champion, which we're gonna send a bit more towards the outside. The reason for this is that because we're going to blimp the tunnel, we don't want the royal champion to path for any reason towards the tunnel poison, so we're keeping her a bit more on the outside. However, we're gonna push her to the core eventually later, okay? Here we go, we're gonna send some headhunters. This way the queen will go down. We're gonna rage. Now, this is very important to not do. This is a mistake many people do when facing this type of bases, which are anti-pathing towards the core, which is using haste spell early. So most bases, it's okay to use a haste spell with the warden ability, just to boost your balloons 4 forward where they are invincible, and it's really nice. However, in this case, we want the balloons to not go too quickly, otherwise you're gonna go speed forward and completely avoid the core. Instead, we need to save some time to place another piece of Lalo over here. This way we can funnel this top side, and this push is gonna go then to the core. Okay, this is very important against this style of base, which is quite meta, so yeah, make sure this is fine. Here we go. Brim gets the tunnel and the scatter. That's really nice. We're going to use the haste over here this time. This way the funnel will be quicker and will be set for sure. There we go. As you noticed, we placed a bigger pack of the Lalo on this side of the base, because it's likely that they're going to go on the outside and stay safe from the heavy splash damage core. Okay. There we go. Our Royal Champion is going to the core. Some balloons are going in there as well, but that's completely fine. And even though the Lalo might die out over here, we still have our Royal Champion, and as long as the Royal Champion will still be alive, we're gonna be fine on most of the attacks, okay? She's the most important hero, especially against this style of base, so make sure you keep her alive and you're going to be completely fine. There we go, triple in the bag. Third box base, let's see what we have. Double poison, box base. Let's see the zap options, which are either this or this. There we go. If we zap the monolith, we're gonna get a good path into the core. However, we are still going to have 2 deep scatters, 2 poison towers, the multis over here, and a big tunnel comp, so I don't think it's gonna be enough value, and doesn't really open up to any good plan in my opinion, so I would exclude this option. Let's think about what we can do with this one. This is great value. We get the scatter, the ricochet cannon, the poison tower, and probably also the queen. So after we get all of this down, we have 2 options. Either we suit the eagle or we suit the tunnel. Now, because we have 2 multis on the eagle side, and not a lot of damage overall, because as you can see, the ricochet cannon is down, the other ricochet cannon is on the other side, we don't have multi-archer towers, a monolith, nothing. Only 2 multis and just an X-bow, which we can take down early with our Sui, so we basically have no damage on the heroes. And if we have to Lalo this side instead, it will be pretty annoying, because we have 2 multis on the back and our Lalo probably wouldn't make it. So let's plan a Sui into the eagle comp. Since we have 3 wall breakers, we can do something like this. We can send our king like this inside this compartment. Not with the queen is gonna go on the outside, and then we're gonna break both king and queen into this junction. We need to wait that all of this is down, this is very important, otherwise the wall breaker is gonna target a weird wall over here and it's gonna be bad. We're going to funnel this side, of course, and we wall break here again, and our heroes are gonna be able to get all the way to the core, just like this, and they're gonna get basically all of this value. Maybe the queen is gonna get something like this, we're not sure. So that's just bonus value. Our targets are the multis, the eagle of course, and the clan castle pool. Okay. Then afterwards, let's see what we can do. Since we don't really have a good flinger, because this base I would say is quite a meta setup, which is these X-bow comms. They are all in the corners of the base, and this basically prevents any flame flinger. Okay, so we can't really blimp because we will have to Lalo the tunnel. So what we're going to do here is just add a drill with the Lalo, and the drill is gonna be sent over here, and it's gonna slowly path its way behind the tunnel and take the monolith. Okay, it's like a slammer, but use the drill because it's not vulnerable to seeking air mines, and it's gonna get a great value, stun the defenses, and it's gonna be nice. Okay, surely better than the stone slammer. We're going to Lalo the tunnel, and then we still have a royal champion, so we are not gonna send her with the Lalo over here or over here, because she might go into the tunnel poison. We won't avoid that at all cost, because we want the royal champion alive till the end of the raid. That's very important, remember. So we're gonna send our royal champion over here. This way she's gonna surely avoid the tunnel, and she's gonna go just like this and finish off the base. Let's see how it works. Alright, let's see. We're gonna do the zaps first. Let's see. There we go. We get also the queen. That's really nice. Gonna start with the king. Go into this compartment, and the queen will funnel the king inside. There we go. Make sure we funnel for the queen. Very important. Now the wall break is very delicate, so let's wait for these defenses to go down. Then we can wall break in the junction. Even if that means that the king is going to break a wall, it's completely fine. He's gonna stay inside, and when the wall opens, he's gonna switch sides. So he's actually going for these buildings. When he's coming back, it's really nice. With a nice golem, as usual, delayed so that it will freeze deeper in the core. Wall break in the core, king ability. And now we should get a lot of value. Ideally, pull also this poison tower. Poison the hunters, there we go. Even the king gets the multi, it's really nice. Pull the poison tower, and now we can start with our Lalo. There we go. Just using a giant, just a little detail to protect the drill a bit longer. We start our Lalo. Now, keep in mind we want the drill to stay alive, so we need to add some balloons to make sure it has enough DPS to get through the defenses and not get stuck being hit by an X-bow or anything else, okay? We're starting the Lalo towards the town hall. There we go. Our heroes will do the job, that's really nice. Alright, so our queen unfortunately died through the ability, but that's fine. So we have the drill with the Lalo. There we go, we rage through the town hall as usual. Now, unfortunately nothing targeted the town hall, so it's gonna stay up for some time. But it's not the end of the world, because something will eventually go there and take it down, okay? We're just gonna get less value on defense from the poison explosion, okay? There you go, the drill will take it eventually. There we go. And now we have our royal champion. Our royal champion will be the finisher for the base, okay? So we have her ability, and we're gonna be completely fine, okay? As usual, we keep the real champion alive. She's gonna stay alive the wall attack, and nothing is gonna stop us, okay? Time, nothing, power on defense, nothing, okay? Anything is gonna stop us. If we sue the RC to have some Lalo at the end, it might end up in a fail, a time fail. But if our hero stays alive, we're gonna get it always. Let's go to the final base. Alright, this is the last box base. As you can see, we have an Invis tower. Now, every time you see an Invis tower, I would recommend you to see if you can find your way. Alright, this time I'm gonna do a live attack, so let's jump into it. There we go. We're gonna zap first. There we go. We can wait a little bit when we zap the rage tower, because we don't have to worry about time. Only when we use a flame flinger we need to be worried about time, so we're fine. We're gonna wall break. Make sure our king goes inside. There we go. We can pop the king ability probably early. We don't need to wait too much. Log launcher. As you see, the X-bow is always locked on the king. That's very important, because if it's anything else and it dies, it's gonna target our log launcher. So we definitely don't want that. We want the X-bow to be always locked on the king, just like this. Pop the queen ability. So the log launcher is not able to finish everything, but you have the Yetis in the CC, so it should be alright. Let's poison the CC. Unfortunately, we didn't pull the Invis tower, but it's gonna be fine, okay? Like, if we can pull it, that's fine. Otherwise, we are just gonna freeze it, and it's gonna be completely fine. Let's see if our queen can stay alive, if we can get some more value. Okay, let's freeze this. Just to keep our queen alive till the end of the attack. I'm gonna send a hound, so this way it goes behind the town hall, and we pull all the traps. I didn't pull that much, but it's fine. And soon freeze. Another hound, the hunter, rage. There we go. Real champ in a safe spot. The Invis pops, but it's gonna be completely fine, because the loons will backtrack, and we're gonna be fine. Okay, it's not a big issue. We still have 10 balloons. Our royal champion is still alive, and that's the most important thing. Okay, let's wait for our troops to get over here. We don't need to rush with our balloons. It's another thing also, don't drop your balloons on the edge of the base before the main pack comes, okay? Just a little Lalo tip. Alright, there we go. And this should be done. Okay, so these were the box bases. Now let's jump to the last and hardest style, in my opinion, which are the ring bases. The last style we're going to cover is the ring base, which is, in my opinion, the hardest style. Not because it's hard to plan, but because the execution of the attack has to be really great. You need a very good hero dive and a very good Lalo. Otherwise, it's easy to mess up something and end up failing. So let's see how we manage them. Okay, so generally speaking about ring bases, except some extreme scenarios, which is the double inv bases, which are however not as much common, I will say, so don't worry about it. We're gonna basically use every single time a blimp, so you know you have a tunnel in the core, you're gonna use a blimp and that's gonna be secured, so no problem about that. Then what I usually try to do is to zap for our heroes, this way they can get good value, and yeah, we're gonna see now that we need to zap for them and we need to break the ring of the base, okay? So we need to create the pathing, this way our Lalo is going to go around the tunnel, the blimp is gonna secure it, and the Lalo is gonna go all around the base, okay? So let's see. Let's see what we can zap here. There's not much, to be honest. The only option I see personally is this. Because if we can clear all of this, we clear a monolith, and we take down a lot of damage in that area of the base, and then we can send our heroes inside this compartment. We're gonna wall break over here, this way they can walk all the way, just like this. Now, we sweep this side because we get the sweeper. If we sweep the other side, we could get the other one, but it's not a big problem because what we're going to Lalo is something like this, okay? We are not going to Lalo from the eagle. The eagle is not a big problem, okay? If you leave it at the end, it's not an issue because just imagine you start the Lalo, the first shots are gonna be on your first lava hound, which is gonna die anyway, and that's his job basically, so it's not gonna be a problem. On the second round of shots, you're probably just going to pop the warden ability, so I mean, the eagle is not a big problem, okay? Don't worry about it. So we're gonna switch this bottom side because we zap this, and also because on the top side there are these ricochet cannons, which are quite scary to sui, so we're just gonna Lalo over them, and they're not gonna do anything, okay? So our heroes hopefully are gonna get all of this value, just like this, also the storages, potentially, something like this. There we go. All of this will be cleared, and then we're going to Lalo from this side. Why this side? Because we see the sweepers and we don't really care about the eagle. What we need to do on ring bases, the main thing is dealing with the splash damage the best as we can, okay? Because we start from this side of the base, we're gonna leave a multi in the core, a scatter, and a multi-archer tower at the end for our Lalo. I know we have the royal champion, but let's rather uh, take the splash damage down as early as possible, the most efficiently as we can. And if we start the Lalo from the bottom side, we're gonna pop our warden ability, we're gonna get through these two defenses at least, and then we can just freeze the last multi-inferno, and there's basically nothing that can stop our Lalo. We're gonna send our rare champion with the Lalo, just to support. Make sure you don't send her like over here, like we did on Diamond and Box bases, because we want to avoid that she's gonna go in the tunnel poison, okay? This is very important, so we're just gonna send her somewhere like here. This way she's gonna be completely safe, work her way around all the base, and support the Lalo, okay? Let's see how it's done. Okay, let's see the replay. We're gonna zap first, as usual. We're gonna start with our king. We don't start with our queen because we want to make sure that she goes inside. On in base it's extremely important to funnel the sides. This way the queen is gonna go inside. Otherwise it's gonna be a big issue. Without the queen we're not gonna get enough value ever. Okay. We need to funnel the side because of wall breaking here. There we go. Queen goes in. King pushes through. There we go. Okay. Can speed up a little bit. The heroes are gonna work their way. We don't need to start our Lalo, let's focus on our heroes. There we go. We have an extra zap, we just use it for the CC. If you're in war, just bring an extra freeze. That's gonna be completely fine, that will do the job. Okay, so I would always recommend to not freeze for the Sui, but except if it's for some very important targets, because here we're gonna get a sweeper and a multi, which is crazy important to get down for our Lalo. So yeah, if we need to freeze, if it's extremely needed, just do it. We start our Lalo. There's some annoying Teslas, but it's fine. Rail champ in a safe place. The hunters, blimp, and we tom. Here we can haste because the loons are not gonna go into the tunnel. And now this is something very important on ring basis overall. Now we got a bit unlucky here with the tornado trap, but it's fine. But notice how we place the rage spell. We're gonna cover both the CC troops coming out from the clan castle and both our Lalo, okay? Because if we cover only one of them, it's gonna make a big difference, especially on those very stacked bases. So we're gonna try to cover both the CC troops and our Lalo, okay? There we go. They are raged up. Our Lalo is raged up. Unfortunately, he died, but it's fine. We have our royal champion. We have still a big part of the Lalo left. We're just gonna push around the base, okay? It should be clapped. Okay. Our royal champion is still alive. As usual, if she stays alive, she will finish the base. She's gonna help a lot with time, with the cleanup, with everything, okay? So this was the first one. Let's check the last one. Okay, second and final base. What we're going to do here is, as we saw in the previous box, if you remember, here we have, again, an isolated stacked rage core. This is more like a ring-based style because the tunnel is deeper, but it's kind of the same concept, okay? So what we're going to do, what you usually do on this style is we always try to zap the core with the rage, just like this, because this core is very hard to manage for, it's hard to reach for your heroes, it's hard to get for royal champion, and it's tough to get through with your Lalo, okay? So that's why we need to zap it, we don't have our other options, so we just need to do it. We're not gonna get any of the sweepers, so let's keep in mind for later, but it's completely fine. So if we're gonna get all of this, what we're going to sui is something close by, because we want to break the ring of the base, okay? So we need to sui the bottom side. So we're gonna send our king inside to get this whole compartment, just like this. Because since there are a lot of buildings, a lot of DPS, we're just gonna send the king. And then we're gonna send the queen in a safer place, just like this. We're gonna wall break. And she's gonna go and get the eagle and the multi. Okay. Then if the king pulls the clan castle, that's great. If he doesn't, it's fine, it's not a big deal. We cannot really have our whole plan around getting the CC. So we need to deal with it later on with our real champion. So yeah. Okay, so our heroes are gonna get something like this, I will say. Something like this. Okay. If all of this is down, we broke the ring of the base, which was something like this. There we go. All of this is broken. And now we need to start our Lalo. Now, none of the sweepers are gone, so it's fine, doesn't matter where we start. But I would say a better option is starting from this side, because we have an easier access to the core. Okay. We can easily have a few loons puffing towards this scatter shot, and then our blimp is gonna go somewhere around this area, and it's gonna take both the multi-inferno and the town hall. Otherwise, these two defenses will be very annoying if we start the Lalo on the other side. I know the multi-archer towers can be annoying, but they are not as good as a scatter shot or a multi on the back end, okay? So, gonna start the Lalo from this side. We can keep our champion from a safer place again, from this top side. This way she's gonna deal with the splash damage if our Lalo is going to die eventually. And then we just need a very small group to finish the base, okay? So, we're gonna do live attack. Let's go. Okay, last base, last ring, last live attack. Let's go. We're gonna zap first, as usual. There we go. We're gonna place our queen. Now we're gonna place our king with some support. Our king, make sure he goes inside. We support him with a nice golem. Queen will be fine, she doesn't have much damage, so we're just gonna support a little bit more our king. Okay. King gets all the value. We wallbreak the queen on the eagle. If our king can join with our queen, would be nice. We can try to wallbreak even deeper. Doesn't matter. It was a bit too far, the wall, so it's fine. Okay, now, we don't want to wait too much for our Lalo now, because we want to have our queen and our king ideally surviving. So we're gonna start already. Okay. Can blimp, hunters. Let's keep one hunter for the enemy king. Haste and warden ability. Pop the queen ability as well. We had our royal champion. We poison. Misty hunters, which is a bit problematic, but it's fine. More Lalo. Our queen is still alive in the core, pushing with her healers. Our warden is gone, which is a bit annoying. Should be fine. The hunter for the king. Let's pop their C ability, we don't need to wait. Okay. We can just freeze. And this should be enough. Okay. It's not the cleanest, it's not the most overkill. But as I said, summoning bases are quite hard. Depends a lot if you lure the CC with a king or not. And overall need a good execution, otherwise they're just hard, so yeah, just need to have overall a good execution of the plan. Okay, triple, there we go, this is it. This was the Lalo masterclass. I really hope that you enjoyed it. Now, all you have to do is either do a lot of friendly challenges or push in legends, and what I would suggest you to do is watch back the replays after each attack so that you can understand the mistakes, fix them, and improve after each attack. Okay, so, and if you need any extra help, feel free to buy coaching from me in the Blueprint website, and thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one.